looking at the latest iteration, they obviously factored in the possibility that the Supreme Court, the UK Supreme Court, would reject it on the grounds that Rwanda is not a safe country, an objective judgment that Rwanda is not a safe country, and therefore you can't send anybody there. A safe third country policy would be acceptable, but they can't find one. They can't find a third country to deport people to. So they had to find an unsafe third country to deport people to. And then they must have calculated that we can overcome the legal situation by threatening to or actually pulling out of the European Convention on Human Rights. But then the Supreme Court kicked in and pointed out, well, it's not just the ECHR that you would be disapplying to get this through. It's also the International Convention on Refugees. I think there may have been one or two other acts as well, international, supranational law that everybody abides by except sort of Russia and North Korea, possibly Belarus, I think, as well. But these are, you know, pretty much the only safeguards that the international community has against dictatorship and the rest of it. So we're going to pull out of them as well. And I presume, I think the answer is a lot simpler than I expected it to be at 10 o'clock this morning. I think the miscalculation here is taking Rwanda for granted. I think back to that picture of Braverman cackling in the company of a couple of Rwandan officials. I mean, truly cackling, throwing her head back and opening her mouth so wide and cackling like a sort of Wizard of Oz witch. I mean, hideous scenes given what she was cackling about, the deportation of genuine refugees to a country where refugees get shot. But that sort of created the idea perhaps in our minds that the Rwandans would go along with anything. They'd go along with whatever we said. That's why we chose them. We'll give them 140 million quid and they'll dance to our tune. I think that comes from a place of post-imperial arrogance. I think that comes from a place of thinking, well, Johnny Foreigner will jolly well do whatever we have to do. It's a shame we have to pay them money these days rather than just boff them over their head and give them their orders. The good old days. These days, we've got to give Johnny Foreigner 140 million quid to get him to do whatever we want, take out our dirty washing, do our laundry.